Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We're going to finish up this yarn today, and I'm very, very excited because what is this? Part 8 of the Dying to Spin series, but I guess I'll get into that a little bit more in a moment. But hi, everyone. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits. And I love to dye yarn and fiber. And starting last summer, I did this Dying to Spin live stream where a series of live streams where I dyed the unspun fiber. I spun the yarn, we plied the yarn. There was a bit of a gap in there, and now the yarn is done. It's done. I have a picture right here that I'll leave up just so that way you can see a better view of what we're working on, but here is the yarn. I have some shorts that I'll play in a moment, sort of recapping how we got to here, and then with the little leftovers, what I did there. But good morning, everyone. Okay, what do I need? What do I need? Okay, you can barely see the wheel. She's not really going to be in view. I don't know if you can tell, there is something else on the wheel right now. I've spun some merino silk yarn, and I'll have some shorts where I'll talk about that. It was fiber spun in like a super old video, but I think I have fingering weight 3-ply yarn in the end, so I'm very excited about that. Yeah, okay, and so the big goal for the day is that we have the yarn on these bobbins, which, I mean, I suppose you could work directly from the yarn on a bobbin, right? There's nothing keeping you from that. However, I only have 4 bobbins for my wheel, and so if I'm going to want to do another project on the wheel, I am going to need to remove the yarn. And so we're going to do that with a Niddy Noddy. This is a piece of equipment that will allow me to wind a much bigger skein than otherwise I might. So in general, I like to have about a 4-foot skein, and we can achieve that with this 12-inch bar. Now, if I were to, like, another way I could do this is I could take, oh my, the focus is going to be a problem today, isn't it? Okay. Another way that you could do this is you could have something, this is a 24-inch bar here, and I could wind the yarn sort of just around this straight, which is a little bit awkward. There are times when I do that, like when I want to unravel a double-stranded sock blank and unravel it into 2 skeins, then it makes sense to use something like this because I can do 2 at a time. But I could also use this and have it in the more traditional perpendicular configuration. And I could wind an 8-foot skein on here with the way I'm going to be doing the 4-foot one. And I did think that maybe I would show off how I unravel some sock blanks in this stream as well. But I will admit my arm is getting tired and I don't want to push it. I think I slept on it funny versus, could it have been? It's tired, so I don't want to do too much. And so that's just me listening to my body. But hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Okay. Okay, let me show you all the parts that I have for the Niddy Noddy. In the center of a Niddy Noddy is this 1-foot section. This is a 1/2-inch PVC pipe. Normally you can buy them in 2-foot sections, and I just cut it in half. Then using, do I have? Yes. Then using like this T bracket here, I can put that up on one end, and into that I will add 2 6-inch pieces. And then I will basically make one of those again and have it perpendicular to it. So you can see it, the configuration is like this. And so we will be winding the yarn sort of around one of these bars, then around down here, around this bar and then around over there. So that way we have our skein, but it's almost like it's folded in half on here. And it's really easy, you'll see as I get going, to like get the rhythm and to do it. Yes. Okay, I do have a really old video. If you search the ChemKnits Tutorials YouTube channel, like on a computer, or maybe if you search for PVC pipe Niddy Noddy, I show exactly what I have. But basically, I bought two 2-foot 1/2-inch PVC pipes, 4 end caps, and 2 T-bars. One of the 2-foot sections I cut into 4 6-inch pieces, and then the other one I cut in half. You can get like a little coupler for cutting PVC pipes, so I can actually technically cut them at home. But you also, a lot of times at home improvement stores, they will give you like 2 free cuts when you go. And so I have had them help me and just for free cut the stuff for me before. Okay, and so to do this, I'm also going to take, I showed in one of the shorts, and I guess as I set this up, let me show off a little bit about where we came from. Oh, I can stop recording. It's finally time to ply this yarn. I had dyed 200 grams of fiber, and I spun my singles split onto 2 bobbins, and I can sort of attach these bobbins to the wheel so I can make my 2-ply yarn. Now, I happened to spin these singles in the S direction, or while spinning with the wheel going counterclockwise. So I'm now plying. Traditionally, you ply in the opposite direction to how you spun the singles. So I'm plying in the Z direction with my wheel spinning clockwise. Now, this type of yarn that I'm creating, and unintentionally, is one that would be better for crochet than knitting because of the twists that you introduce into the yarn as you're working with it. And really, that was not done with intent. I guess I just picked a direction and started. But you know, I'm still learning, and ultimately, did I create a yarn? Yes. And we're almost done. I do have a little bit of yarn left over after I finished the first bobbin, and I have a plan of how I'm going to deal with this. But you tell me, what's your favorite way to deal with leftovers when you've been making a 2-ply yarn? Would you end ply it or do a center pull ball to spin from both ends? Or what's your favorite method? Because as I said, I'm still learning. Okay, I was like, oh no, did it go into the second one already? Sometimes I reuse some footage. Oh, your Ace Hardware will cut them for free? That's awesome. Your handspun yarn got an honorable mention in the state fair this year? Hey, that's fantastic. Ooh, 4-ply cabled light fingering weight. That sounds beautiful. Okay, I was setting up a tripod. Oh, maybe I can tilt that, and I can reach. Oh my gosh, I am not doing this well. I'm just trying to get the bobbin in view. Okay. So now the way I like to do this is I like to take the end of the yarn, and this is the one that I plied from the center pull ball. And I pop it in here. It's a great way to hold it on. You could do the end caps too, but sometimes those are hard to come off. And so then I need to figure out how I want to do this. Okay. I'm gonna need to move my hand. There we go. And then, wait, what? I need to get my rhythm down. There we go. Figure out where I need a hand to go. I will slow this down in a minute, but my goal right now is to be able to get some yarn on here so you can see better what it is I'm doing and some of the reasoning behind this. But let me stop recording. Oh no. Oh no, that's fine. I did record. Okay. I think now that we have some yarn on here, you can kind of see, if I pull it apart, how we have our circle, but the circle is folded in half. maybe you need to see. Like, look at like that. You can kind of see how the circle is folded in half around it, giving us that long bit. And the reason why we need to like set the twist, as I set that down, is you can see this is my 2-ply yarn. There are still some sections that are over twisted a bit, and it's sort of gonna like fall in on each other. So by wetting the yarn and sort of letting it dry, it has a similar result. I mean, it essentially is blocking my yarn, right? Because if you have something that is too compressed after you finish knitting or crochet, you pin it out, you wet it, and so the fibers will like relax and have that memory back in the shape you left it. And that's kind of what we're doing here with the yarn as well. Okay. And so the like less easy way to do it is you go like around one. I feel like, how do I describe the motion? Okay, because really when I do this, what I do is I hold the yarn still and I kind of move the Niddy Noddy. But you kind of go over one end, over one of the bottom. What should I name them? Okay, I guess we're gonna have front, back, left, and right. So I'm gonna go under the left, over the front, under the right, over the back. And sort of, you always want to make sure on each end that you're going over the outside and not like the inside, if that makes sense. But this is really pretty, really, really pretty. I love my Blurple vibes too. But yeah, I find the times I've tried to do an actual demonstration of this, it really helps to use ribbon or something super bulky, because I feel like in the camera from this far away, you can't really see very well the strand that's in my hand. Doo, doo, doo. Okay, and so as to my guess, and you can see there's like inconsistencies in here. Can I show close up? Nah, my twists are not perfect. I can see that like sometimes I applied tighter than others, but I mean, part of those imperfections are the beauty of something hand spun. And so, yeah. Oh man. Aha! See, that goes very, very quickly. But I was also dealing with the smaller of my 2 bobbins. Now, something I like to do that is maybe not proper is that when I ply, I like to tie the yarn onto the leader. So the leader, a lot of you are probably spinners, but the leader is a piece of yarn or something that you have on the bobbin already. So that way you can attach the yarn you're spinning to the bobbin. And sometimes I'll just use like an acrylic for it. But you can, like when I'm spinning yarn, I don't start with a knot, but when plying, I was like, I struggled to get it going. And so I was like, I'm just going to tie a little knot that makes my life a little easier. And with this end, I'm just going to secure it around. Now, one of the things that I often will do at this stage is to try to estimate the yardage. I will count the wraps on here. If you have a better way to estimate the yardage, I would love to know. I would love to get some tips. But yeah, this is the mini skein. So this is the leftovers. And let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50. Okay, about 50 wraps. This actually makes the math a little bit easier. So 50 times 4 is 200 feet divided by 3. Oh gosh. Like, yeah. Hold on. Like 60 yards? 50 wraps, 200 feet. I can math, I promise, but not really. Like 66? Oh my gosh. 200 divided by 3. Yeah, okay, fine. About 66 yards. And this is just with the leftover. Yeah, 66. Yeah, counting wraps is the only way you know to get the yardage without like robots and stuff. Okay, cool. So about 66 yards, which means that there's enough yardage here that it made it worth me doing a technique to make this 2-ply versus attempting to make a 3-ply yarn that I will talk about more in a sec. But that brings me to this. I'm spinning this 2-ply yarn and I just finished one of the bobbins. There's a reasonable amount left on the second bobbin. And this is what I'm going to do. I am going to take this bobbin and wind it into a center pull ball. This way I can take one strand from the inside of the ball, one strand from the outside, and ply this together to create a bonus mini skein of 2-ply yarn. Now, this is probably going to be a little bit thinner than the other 2-ply yarn because clearly one of my bobbins had slightly thicker single ply than the other, but is a wonderful companion and a great way to use up what I have left. This is all part of my Dyeing to Spin series where I started dyeing the yarn and then spun this yarn over multiple live streams. Now I have to take the yarn off of the bobbin, and so I think that's going to be one final live stream. Should we plan out the next series? Yay, okay. In that meantime, I was setting up the camera to film some more. Gosh, what was I gonna say? Rick thinks I need some coffee. Oh my gosh. I think I'm definitely tired, but okay. Here is this next bobbin. Okay. I'm just filming. Some goofy transitions. And I should say, okay, Rebecca, potentially another voiceover. As I wind my handspun yarn onto this Niddy Noddy, I would love to do a better tutorial about this, although I struggle to explain how to do it. But I think it helps to use something really thick and bulky versus the like light worsted DK weight yarn that I am winding up here. But also, you let me know if you want me to redo sort of the tutorial of how I made the PVC pipe Niddy Noddy and how to use it. I'm happy to do that again. Cool. Cool. So YouTube, oh, I should start filming. YouTube has made some changes. And they're going to change the way that content creators get paid for short form content. And so the new way, because basically the way that it works right now is that if you want to make money from shorts, they will pay you sort of like proportional to the number. If you're monetized already, they'll pay you proportional to the number of views you get. So like, because since ads show up in between shorts, you know, if they, you know, if one reel gets 1 million views, they're going to get like more money than a reel that gets like 1,000 views, which makes sense. But now to be eligible, or starting, I think next year, to be eligible for money in the Shorts Fund, you have to maintain 10 million views on shorts every 90 days, which is insane. It's not going to affect my monetization from normal videos, but yeah. Yep. That is stressful. Because not that I make a ton of money from shorts at all, but occasionally I'll have one that'll get like 100,000 views, and then I do make something, right? So it's just a shame. Okay, but I should probably not talk about that. I'll talk about the yarn. Rebecca, maybe you want to use this one where I'm not talking about monetization on something that'll go on YouTube. But yeah, this process goes pretty quickly. I have a lot more yarn on this bobbin though. Oh my gosh, I could totally use my automated skein winder to do this. I mean, I wouldn't be able to soak the yarn that way, but oh man, right now I'm really wishing I could do that. I'm gonna give myself an arm break in a moment. But actually, okay, Rebecca, you're gonna start slow and then go faster. So kind of exaggerating it. But yeah, you can see that there's points of over twist. It's like filming B-roll for myself. Okay. Oh, some other goofy shots. Whew, but I'm gonna give my arm a brief break. I have done, but yeah, you can see the over twist that I have in here. But yeah, I would say, and this is, I do have a WPI tool, which is a wraps per inch tool. Oh gosh. I have a WPI tool, which is wraps per inch, that I will use, you know, at some point, but this is so pretty. It's so funny how different. It's giving very like periwinkle vibes to me right now. How different it looks like when you start with the fiber and then you end up here. But then when I go ahead and soak it, basically I take this, either I would do it, there's one of my own hairs in here. Either I'll do it like at the kitchen sink with the sprayer, and I'll use hot or warm water. So one of the things that I say a lot of times is when you're washing fiber, if it's bleeding and you're going to be washing it yourself, this is the stage where you can wash and go bigger, right? Because since the fiber, yes, you can still definitely felt it, but because it's a bit more protected in like as it's twisted, you can be a little bit less delicate with it, if that makes sense. Oh, and while I'm here, everyone, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and make sure you give the video a thumbs up. That would be very helpful. I'm going to drink a little something and insert an ad. Can you see? Yes, we kind of have a puppy cam. He has not noticed that I'm streaming. You can see my very messy playroom. Have you noticed? Okay, good. I'm glad he moved, even if you can't see that on camera. It's like, nope, Indie Ponce is here. But anyway, I'll get back to it. Did you know that I don't drink coffee? Now, when I unravel Niddy Noddies, as I mentioned, and I'm out of focus, is it going to fix itself? Probably not. Oh, it fixed itself. Great. When I unwind sock blanks and I'm doing them 2 at a time, I like to use the 2-foot PVC pipe Niddy Noddy to do that, because one perk of doing it that way is that you get one perk of using the PVC pipe Niddy Noddy to do it 2 at a time is that you can really see the color progression in the gradient. Because right now, as I'm winding the yarn onto here, I'm not really winding it in a way to showcase the gradient. I could, and the way I would do that if I wanted to is to always make sure that the yarn, as I'm adding new yarn, goes on the outside sort of everywhere, you know? If I keep it on the outside everywhere, then I can do that. But I'm not doing that on purpose. I'm letting the yarn go on top of itself, which means that we aren't seeing like a progression or to know how asymmetric things are. I will say this yarn is chunkier than the leftovers for sure. This is definitely thicker, which makes sense. Before I'm going to need to film conclusions for my video before I take things off and soak it. I'm glad I remembered. I'm going to write that down. Conclusions. The yarn and then thicker. Okay, the bonus is thinner because if you think about it, I had leftovers on one bobbin. Each bobbin had 100 grams of single ply yarn on it. Some of this is almost like boucle feeling, which is not intentional. But anyway, the reason why like we had leftover is because there was more yardage on one than the other. And given that we have 66 yards of 2-ply yarn on that mini skein. And so let's see, so that was, about 130 extra, 130 extra yards on one bobbin versus the other. And so therefore, that's not insignificant. And so therefore it means that the other bobbin had to have been spun thicker. So I was inconsistent. Now, some of this could be the fact that I waited a year in between. That could be, but also it could be that I started thicker and then I got more confident and went thinner. I am not good at sort of maintaining what I'm doing, but actually you can tell I'm getting closer to the end. You can tell it's getting louder and I'm getting thinner. I feel like the yarn's also getting a little bit thinner, which I think is because, I must have just become more confident as I went on. You heard, can you see? And then it cut to the ad. Oh no. So one problem with the setup is that, and one thing I always forget is I insert the ad when I press the button. I press it when like in real time for me, but there's a delay. And so sometimes I'm bad about that. But I don't know if you can see the difference in here. And of course I meant, oh no, the focus fixed pretty quickly. Now, when will the video come out? And that is a very good question. I do not have it on the schedule yet. Probably the earliest I think it might come out would be October. Unless, you know, I pop it in on a Friday slot somewhere. Because sometimes I'll hold Fridays open for, like, I'll have on the schedule, I'm like, okay, this can be, oh, I'm done. This can be a Leave No Die Behind, or this could be a Leave No Die Behind or a stream. Okay, now, oh, the thing I wanted to do, and this is another question I have for spinners. Is it bad if I put Sharpie on my bobbin? So I hate one of my bobbins. And I can't for the life of me figure out what could be going on. But there are times when I'll be spinning something and I'm like, okay, the wheel is broken, like it's not working. I have to make the brake band as tight as I possibly can with the string really stretched out. And for like the yarn I'm spinning over here, I don't have to do that. But it's really only with this bobbin. And so how should I mark it? I'm gonna mark it with a little star. Because that's not me being mean to it. Just put like a tiny little star at one end to indicate that this is the one that I hate. And so whatever it is, because it's what it'll struggle with that uptake. And so that means that it can't get a good enough, I think it means it can't get a good enough break on the brake band. But this time I noticed a massive difference because I was struggling with this yarn, but I wasn't struggling with any of the other yarn. And so I'm realizing that this is the crappy bobbin. But yeah, if anyone has any advice on that, I would love to hear. But these leaders are all so old. I don't even know what kind of yarn this one is, but you can, it's like all stretched out and everything. But sometimes now I'll use, what's it? I'll use, oh yeah, just like acrylic or something. But hooray! That was really fast. Okay, but now the last thing we have to do is count. And so it's not perfect for getting the yardage, but it is a little handy. So, okay, Rebecca counts on camera. This is riveting television. Okay, let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 16, 18, 20. Okay. 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50. Okay, so this is as much as we had on our mini skein. So that's 50, 52, 54, 56, 58, 60, 62, 64, 68, 68, wait, 70. Oh no, okay, maybe I missed 2. Did I say 66? I don't know. Let's just, it's fine. 72, 74, 76, 77, 78, 80, 82, 84, 86, 88, 90, 92, 94, 96, 98, 100. Okay, so we've got 100. You can't see my bundles. We've got 100. I'm sort of separating it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 34. I grabbed 4 that time. 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54, 56, 58, 63. So 163 wraps. This is not as much as I expected. Okay, wait. And I'm going to math the goofy way. So that's about 217 yards. So I have like, which like, this isn't that thick, right? So that does not feel like very much. It feels like very little. And this is why I don't make a lot of stuff out of my hand spun yarn, because I do this and then I'm like, oh, it's not that much. Yeah, so I don't know what I might make with it. Something where I could try to use all of it, right? It's very beautiful, but you're like, okay, well, this is 200 grams of yarn. Like, I would hope, because it's not like super thick and worsted, I don't think. I'll have to check the WPI, but even so, it's definitely not like super bulky or something. And so for 200 grams of fiber, right? For 200 grams of fiber, I think I was hoping for at least like 400 yards. So that's the thing. But I guess one thing for sure is that my hand spun is way denser than a commercially spun yarn. Those tend to be loftier. And I think per yard for things that have a similar wraps per inch, I think that the weight of the hand spun is more, is my thing. Would a bit of sandpaper help? This is in regards to my bobbin issue. Maybe. The problem is I don't know how to get sandpaper in the groove, because one of the things I tried was swapping out the twine I used for the break band, but that had no issue on this bobbin where I did most of the spinning, and I struggled with this one, and enough that I could not work on spinning when we were watching TV or anything. Because like it would be loud because the spring was stretched to the point where like the flyer would like knock it, and so you'd hear like a each time it went around. Hand spun goes farther because of its texture. Okay, that's making me feel better. I got 400 in singles. Hey! Yeah. But oh man, I need to find, let's see if it's a picture, because I want to show how thin the singles are that I'm spinning right now, or that I spun. Do I have a picture with my hand? I swear I thought I had. No, maybe it's just videos. But I do have this picture of the bobbin. This is my 3-ply, my chain plied yarn that I'm doing this time. Let's see. Downloads. This was at the very beginning. I mean, I can make it massive again, just so that way you guys can see. But for scale, you can see at the very far right hand of the screen, I think that that's some worsted weight yarn. That's probably like a standard acrylic, it looks like to me. But then this thinness, this is my chain plied yarn. And so I think I'm making a fingering weight chain plied yarn. And I'm very excited about that. Now, I've been filming some clips for it, and I have some clips where you can see like how tiny the singles are compared to like my thumb or whatever. But the problem that I'm having in filming is that, again, it's so thin that like when I'm filming clips to eventually use for a short, it's like, oh, it's really hard to see it because it's so tiny. But it's still very fun. Yeah, so that fiber is from this video. Which may be the first time I ever dyed a merino silk blend ever. And it looks like the color is so light because there was a lot of white left. I dyed it. Oops. I dyed it like this. But the colors leaked. So whatever purple I use that's sort of at the top, I think that spread most of the way through. So there's almost none of the darkest color that's near the bottom. I didn't look back to see what that was. There are some hints of the more pinky color in there. And so there are some areas, I'm like unwinding it a bit so I can show. There are some areas that are dark for sure, but it's very, very pale overall. Very like, oh, actually, I don't know where my phone is. Yeah, what's on the bobbin right now, you see a lot more of the darkness. But you could also make note that that was 77 years ago was that video. And so I went upstairs because I was like, man, I want to spin something else. And I'm like, what do I have? And I'm like, okay, I wanted to do like a fast project, but then I ended up spinning it so thin. And then as I was doing that, I was like, well, why am I going this thin? This is a little goofy. So I would like to spin something chunkier. The problem with wanting to spin something chunkier is that, yeah, I guess if I want the yardage, like there's a hat that I made Ryder once. Which like, can I? Sure. Why did it? Okay. I don't know why it added it all super black. But this hat was with hand spun yarn. And then the very top, I don't know what I did with the very top. Oh, okay, I had some worsted weight. No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted just the image. Can I do? Oh my God, that's way too small. You can't really see. But I must have taken, I think I took some Big O yarn or something, and I had some worsted weight that I spun out of this as well. Because maybe I did a video like spinning it in two different ways. And I must have held that little last bit with the white because I didn't have enough of that super chunky yarn to make the hat. And so then that's how that project came up, is that I was like, okay, I'm going to use as much as I can. And then I ran out. And so that was something that I did. Now, I could absolutely make a hat out of this, and it'd be a warm hat and a lovely hat. But I have a feeling it's going to end up in my stash. Maybe at some point I need to do a video going through my stash of hand spun yarn. Because this is the thing. I was like so confident and I'm so sure that I had so much. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I don't have as much yardage as I thought. So that, okay. And I'm going to do, wait, where's the, actually, should do this. It's fine. I can redo that. Goofy clips for shorts. But yeah, that, I guess this is shorter. I mean, to be fair, I do have a kid home from camp, but I was thinking that I would also unravel onto Niddy Noddies. The problem, here's the problem I'm dealing with, because I have 2 blanks I need to unravel so that way I can finish the videos and get those last clips, and then I can edit the videos. I'm definitely going to need to give my arm a break. Of course, I'm going to want to spin more. I don't think spinning is causing like any, I think I slept funny on it one day. And so then I'm like, I need to give my arm a break, because it's at this point when pushing that you can end up with an injury. And I don't want to end up with an injury. But yeah, I'm like, the weirdness of this is that, yeah, so I could unravel the blanks onto with my automated skein winder, and that could give some information, but you can't look at it and think about, okay, this isn't going to tell the full story of how it knits up, but you could feel the like gradient or the progression in here. And so that's why I really should do it by hand. But yeah, as soon as, I don't know, as soon as I started counting, because this, like, I'm so excited to weigh them as well. Like, I'm so curious about how much I have in here. This is definitely thinner. But anyway, I guess this is a more short and sweet stream today. Yeah, I wanted to dye yarn today. And I was like, oh, I'll dye yarn on Friday. But then I realized with a kid at home, because Lucas doesn't have camp this week, then that just becomes that much harder and more challenging. Okay, but the real question now is, do we do another of these at some point? Probably not soon. It's probably something that I would need to start around January or something, because that I'm about to ramp up into like Halloween and Hanukkah and thinking about all that. And so if I'm streaming, I'm probably going to need to be dyeing yarn for something or other. But I am really enjoying spinning in my free time. And so I would love to do another one of these, but I would love to know, like, is there technique? I had someone commented about doing some kind of gradient. It would be really fun to dye up like rainbow fiber and to dye and then to spin it as a gradient. I've pulled apart variegated fiber in the past to make it become a gradient, just to play around with different techniques. And so I'm like, okay, this has, clearly it was dyed in a way that was somewhat repeating, and I sort of separated the fiber into 5 different colors and then like made a gradient out of it. And so there's so many things that you can do when you spin. I mean, again, I am not an expert spinner. As you can see by me being like, oh man, I thought that there was going to be more yardage. But yeah, you guys can let me know if you want me to do another dyeing to spin live stream series or what. I mean, clearly it took a while to make. Oh, but it was so much fun. I mean, the ironic thing, you know, part of what also takes a while is that if I'm watching a movie, because how many movies did I work on spinning those singles? I don't know. So it feels like that project went faster. It was only 100 grams, but I'm spinning that way thinner. So hopefully, I'm hoping that with that yarn that I'm working on, I better have over 200 yards. I know it's only 100 grams, but I'd really like 400 yards. If I hit 400 yards on that, I would be ecstatic. I don't think it's going to happen though. Maybe I'll have, maybe a more reasonable hope is like 300. But anyway, do they offer roving with Stellina? Ooh. Yes, they do. I don't have very much of it though. I think I might be inclined to do a silk blend. Yeah, I don't know. Because I don't know if it's discontinued. Okay, so I don't think it's discontinued. So Knit Picks had like an Island of Lights roving. Wool to Die for, or not Wool to Die for. Paradise Fibers definitely had sparkle roving. I tried dyeing some of their multicolored Stellina rovings at one point. I took little bits and I dyed it. And it was really sad that I think some of the color, like it was still sparkly, but I don't think the like blue held up to dyeing in the same way some of the other colors did. So I don't remember. There's a video though, somewhere. Because they have some that is like super jam-packed. And I have some of their mega sparkle. But yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to dye because like in my head, I'm like, oh, I'd like to do like a rainbow something. And so, yeah, I just haven't decided what I want to do in my head. But also, like, rather than dyeing the fiber as a gradient, if I want to spin a gradient, I could divide up the fiber, right? Whether I want to do 300 grams total, 200 grams total, I could divide it up and then dye as many individual colors as I want. And then, you know, spin from each of those separately. So there's many different ways that I could go about doing that with intent that could all be really fun. But yeah, I think I'm just very excited. I know that part of the reason why this one stalled was because I felt like I wanted to spin on camera. And yeah, so anyway, we can play around more in the future. But I hope that you guys had fun and you've enjoyed this series. And you don't have to go back and watch all the streams. Clips, it's funny, there may not be a lot of clips. I haven't decided how many clips of the actual spinning will go into the final edited video. It's mostly going to be the dyeing of the fiber and then probably here's the yarn that I created, right? That's very pretty. Very pretty. The pinks aren't showing up on the webcam very well. I would also enjoy doing something more saturated. There's like little hints of teal in here. I really love. Like this was so much fun to spin. And so Yeah. You've dyed rainbow roving and found it difficult to maintain the discrete colors. Everything blended into a muted, muddy yarn. I think it depends on how you're drafting from it and then how random the rainbow is. Because if I dyed it, like if I arranged the fiber, if this is the steam pan and I arranged the fiber like this, and I dyed a rainbow across it, there would be some sections that are blended with multiple colors, which is why I'm more inclined to do that versus separating it, because I think there would be some interest in barber pulling and fun things. But yeah, you do have to think about how you want to do it. And if you want everything like here, you know, from far away, it looks like almost a solid yarn, but there is so much dimension of color within it, right? But the fun thing was that we had something that started off as very multicolored, right? And then we created something, it's sort of like we blended the colors together during the spinning and then during the plying. And so then it averages out. But I don't know, like one idea I had would be to weave with it. But again, I don't know if I have quite enough yardage. And then also what I would do for the warp. Because if I'm going to weave with my hand spun, I don't want to warp with hand spun, you know? And so that's one thing. I mean, that's the thing that I should do. I should dye yarn at the same time. Ooh. Like, ooh, what color would I want to warp with this? Like, do like a bright purple. I don't know. I don't know what would make sense for showing it off. So those are all things that I need to think about because I'd like to do more weaving as well. But anyway, I am going to release Lucas, who has been, well, I mean, he's probably going to come downstairs and read instead of being upstairs and reading. But I'm going to release him and hi, Peeps. You want to say hi? Although now you're off camera. Hey. Come here. Can you up? Come here. You can't do it. Okay, you don't want to. Well, Indy says hi, but I realize you guys can't see. Come here. Can you... I know, I don't want you to make you fall. He's like, Mommy, I don't know what you have. Okay, you can go back to bed. And eat bed. Well, now you can see. He's like, why, Mommy? I was sleeping. Why'd you wake me up? He's like, well, now what do I do? He's like debating, do I need to go drink or do I go back to sleep? Yeah, he's been sleeping back there. That's usually where he hangs out almost all day. But anyway, all right. I will head out. And I know I had hoped to have, oh, I have to order the yarn. Okay. I had hoped to launch things already, but I haven't. No pre-orders, but stay tuned because pre-orders are coming for various holiday things. I'm just behind schedule. But anyway, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits. I love to share what I do to play with color and yarn. Mostly I dye just already spun yarn, but I started spinning back in the day because it seemed like a logical progression from adding color onto yarn and realizing, okay, there is so much more you could do. Like I could dye fibers that are two different colors and then ply them together. Like there's so much you can do with the way the yarn turns out, and it's really fun. And I really enjoy sharing this journey with all of you. And yeah, so subscribe, do all the YouTubey things, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye, everyone.